Hi everyone, I'm Christy Forsyth with Clarity by Christy. I am a soul therapist and an intuitive, and this is my weekly energy reading. This is a reading for all of us to help us to understand what's going on with the weekly energy and how to make the most of it, or how to have your most successful week. So we're going to be diving into what's going on with this energy and what messages we need to connect with in order to make the most of it. We are deep in Mercury retrograde now. People are feeling it, right? If you don't know about Mercury retrograde, you're going to want to check out my video from last week. I feel like it really covers that well, and a lot of the energy from last week that I talked about is really carrying over to this week as well. So make sure you check that out if you did not connect with that last week. Really important messages there, really important. But we are in Mercury retrograde, and it is creating a lot of challenge, a lot of difficulty for people. And like I was saying last week, this is all incredibly purposeful. This is all meant to help us to connect with our clarity. This is meant to help us to heal the things that are sort of left over that we need to work on. It is helping to highlight what it is that we need to work on and allowing us to figure out where we need to make some changes. And I feel like we do have 6 planets now in retrograde, right? So it's very much this energy of you have to go back to go forward in some ways, right? I see us, and that doesn't mean we're going to go backward in our lives, but we're looking back, we're reflecting, we're maybe looking at things from a different perspective now. We're starting to see things from a different perspective, or trying to see things from a different perspective, or the universe is forcing us to see things from a different perspective. There's a lot going on, and understand that all of this is for our highest and best good, and it's meant to bring us where we need to be. But we need these periods, we need these retrogrades in order to help us to continue to do the work that we need to do. Hi Sarah, nice to see you on here. So we have all of that going on, but when I connect with or when I prepare for these readings, what I do is a meditation earlier in my day on a Tuesday. I always do these on a Tuesday, and when I connected in my meditation, I heard really clearly, are you tired of putting yourself through it yet? Okay, and this is something that is for me, but it's also for all of us as a collective, because when I do that meditation, it's meant to connect with the messages that I need to convey to everyone. And I think that's really the biggest theme that we have going on this week. And so you're going to find that there's going to be strain and tension and difficulty if there are changes that we need to make. And it's kind of this energy, and I've talked about this energy before, where we look at stuff and we allow ourselves, or we're kind of forced into getting tired of our own bullshit in a lot of ways. Where do we need to make some changes? Where are we putting ourselves through things that just simply aren't necessary for us to go through, or just simply aren't helpful for us? And this is a week for us to get really real with ourselves about that. Maybe it's a habit, maybe it's a pattern, or something that I think for some people have been a part of our lives for a long time. But it's time to understand that that particular habit, that particular way of doing things, or even that particular connection doesn't align anymore as it stands. It doesn't work in the lives that we have created now. So I think it's really important that we're getting really real with ourselves, that we're getting really honest with ourselves. And I think if you're not in a place where you're ready to do that, I think that this retrograde is going to try to force that a little bit. I really encourage that you do. Uh-oh, it's saying trying to reconnect. Hopefully I'm still live. Okay. Mercury retrograde causes issues with technology as well. I don't think since I've been in this office that I've ever had an issue with the internet, but here we are. So hopefully I'm still live. But we are in a place, in a time where it's so important that we are calling ourselves on our own bullshit, where we're taking a look at something and saying, even though maybe my ego wants to hang on to this isn't serving me, this isn't helping me, this isn't doing anything positive for me in my life anymore. Maybe at one point it did, right? But we have changed significantly over the past few years, or even over the past few months. There's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of ways that we are being shaped into the person that we are shifting into. And by the way, the person that we are shifting into is our most authentic self, our most genuine self, our most purposeful self. And we are being led, we are being guided. And so the second part of the message that I connected with is, well, it was more of a vision rather than words, but what I was shown is somebody who is swimming against the current and completely exhausting themselves. And then the other image I saw was somebody who is smiling and happy in a lazy river, just floating along. And if you guys know me at all, I love a lazy river, right? And so that tends to be a symbol that I use for going with the flow. And so if we think about those two images, you really want to ask yourself, are the things that I'm allowing in my life in my everyday part of swimming against the current? Am I making my life way harder than it needs to be? Or am I letting myself go with the flow and kind of be on this lazy river, really letting myself see where this beautiful lazy river is taking me? Because if we can stop fighting, if we can stop getting in our own damn way and let ourselves be led, it's bringing us into something really, really beautiful and really incredible. And I see Barbara saying this is absolutely true in your life right now. Yes. I think that this is a big question for us to all ask ourselves this week, because sometimes we can be our own worst enemy in that way, you know, or we can be blocking our blessings or blocking ourselves from leveling up. And we really, if we want to continue to grow and develop, have to be able to call ourselves out and say, you know what, enough is enough. And I've put myself through enough because I have continued with this behavior, this connection, this pattern, whatever that is for you. Or have not done something. I think that's also important to keep in mind too, right? Where are you feeling? Oh, it's trying to reconnect again. Hopefully I'm still alive. Where are you not doing something that your soul is telling you that you need to do? Where are you being maybe too stubborn or too afraid or too worried about what other people want from you, and you're not honoring what it is? So this is all about us getting really real with ourselves this week. The other piece of this is to be really mindful about, I talked a lot about this last week, but being really mindful about the ways that we are trying to control things. So shifting into that lazy river versus swimming against the current, because you will exhaust yourself. You're not going to have as much energy during Mercury retrograde. You are going to feel like you're moving more slowly, like the energy has slowed down, and maybe you're going to be even more emotional and feel weighed down by some of these challenges. But take a look at why these challenges are showing up. What is that about? What do I need to understand? Or what do I need to let go of, right? Maybe I'm trying to control something so much because I'm trying to force something in my life that doesn't belong there. If you are forcing it, it probably doesn't belong, or it doesn't belong right now. And so it's really important that we are letting ourselves be guided, that we are doing our best to, surrender as much as we possibly can, because I think if we can do that, then this Mercury retrograde and the time that we have coming up through the end of the year, because I'll be honest with you guys, the energy is going to continue to be quite intense. So do you want to be, using up all of your energy swimming against the current, or do you want to be on this lazy river and just kind of seeing where it's taking you? Because the lazy river is not just any lazy river, it's God's lazy river. And it is carrying you exactly where you need to be. So it is going to require trust. It is going to require surrender. It is going to require you getting out of your own way, us getting out of our own way. I'm including myself in that because certainly this all applies for me as well. And seeing where it takes us. And it might bring us into new territory. It might bring us into a different experience than we've had before. But new isn't always bad. I know we don't always like change. I have a lot of trouble with change myself personally. But when I have allowed it and have just allowed myself to be led and just allowed myself to surrender, it carries me into the most beautiful places, and places that my mind wouldn't necessarily have thought of, but God's bigger for us. God's vision for us is always bigger. And if we can allow it, we're going to be led into that vision. So I also want to connect with the cards because I think the cards really align with everything that we're talking about. So we have, first of all, the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. Where am I not having the kind of stability that I want in my life, and what do I need to do about it? Where are circumstances in my life not giving me what it is that I need? Where do I need to make some changes in order to allow myself to achieve the things that I want to achieve? And not the things that your ego wants to achieve, but the things that your soul wants to achieve, because those are two very different things, right? Your ego might want a fancy car, but your soul wants to live a purposeful life. Your soul wants to feel connected. There are so many things that your soul wants to do that is so much higher vibrational. And so listening to that and letting your soul select your goals for you, show you what the things you really want to be putting your time and your energy into. But where do I, and how can I create more financial success even in my life? This might be, where do I need to make some changes in order to set myself up for success, but at the same time, not compromising my soul. Sometimes there are great jobs out there that pay incredibly well, but I watch it every day in the coaching that I do with people. It's like sucking their soul. It's really impacting them in a negative way. And I'm not saying every job that pays well is sucking your soul, but you want it to be aligned. You want it to feel like it connects for you. And if it doesn't, where do I need to make changes with that? Or what plan can I come up with in order to allow me to do this thing over here that I know in my soul that I'm supposed to be doing? So what steps do I need to take to set myself up for success with that? King of Wands in reverse. Where have I disconnected from my passion? Where have I allowed myself to get stuck in the mundane, in the routine, and not listen to that part of me that lights up whenever I think about this thing or whenever I do this thing? And how do I incorporate my passion, my creativity, those types of things in my life? How do I have a job that lights me up? How do I have people around me that I feel good around, that I feel excited to be around, that fuel me rather than drain me? 9 of Cups. I think that there are opportunities to be really successful right now, to have your wishes come true, to go after your dreams. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for that, but it starts with being honest with yourself, and it starts with getting really real about what your soul is wanting, what your soul is calling for, and what needs to change. 10 of Swords. What do we need to let go of? What needs to end? What needs to come to a close? What do we need to wrap up in our lives in order to let ourselves step into this new territory that maybe we don't know what it looks like, but we know that we're getting a lot of intuitive messages about what needs to come to a close or where we need to make changes in order to be happier, to be more successful, to be more aligned, whatever that is for you. Queen of Wands. I think that it's time for us to step into our most authentic selves and to connect with the confidence that will allow us to do that. And I do think that there's energy right now that will support that will help us to do this self-love kind of work, or to do this work around building our confidence. But I can tell you guys one thing, that if there's something that you want but you don't quite have the confidence to go after it, if your soul is calling for it, you're encouraged to do it anyway. Do it scared, right? So many things in life that we find ourselves later on being successful with are things that we've done scared. We don't have, everything together. We don't know exactly that it's going to work out, but we take that leap of faith and we go after it anyway. And we trust that even if we don't quite believe in ourselves, we believe in our higher power. And that's enough. That's enough, right? So going after, moving in the direction of the things that we're passionate about, the things that we're excited about, even if that brings change, even if that means that life might look different, or there may be some people who are temporarily disappointed, and that is okay. Because at the end of the day, this is between you and God. Difficult decisions, 2 of Swords, right? spending time in our heads, letting things kind of roll around in our head and letting ourselves process things without spending too much time in our head, right? And being mindful, being aware of the thoughts. We have the thoughts card as well. The thoughts that are popping up, it says you're guided to work on shifting your thoughts. Thoughts create things. What are you creating? Notice what it is that you're creating. I was working on shifting some of my thoughts this week, and I got the image of being in my car and switching the song. I don't like this song, so I'm going to switch to the next one. And I got the image around changing our thoughts. And can we kind of in our minds kind of just skip to the next thought and see if we like that? And if we don't like that one, if that one doesn't make us feel any better, skip to the next thought and skip to the next thought until you find a thought that you enjoy having play in your head. So I think that that's a really powerful technique and has helped me to stay out of my head a little bit more this week. So give that a try. And then we have the 9 of Wands. Where do we need to be stubborn and where are we being too stubborn? Where is our stubbornness preventing us from really exploring things or having things that we want to have simply because we want to hold on to something with a tight grip, or because we're afraid of change, or because we're afraid to upset someone, or whatever that is? Where's your stubbornness preventing you from living the kind of life that your soul is calling for? And where do we need to be more stubborn, right? Where do we need to connect with that tenacity within ourselves that says, no, this is what I really want. This is my truth. This is what I want. This is the vision. And where do we need to lean into that? Because I think if we want something deep down in our soul, we have to also hold the vision, right? It's a tricky thing. You've got to figure out the difference between holding the vision and controlling something. And that can be difficult to tease out, but I can tell you, controlling something feels like fear. Holding the vision feels like love and peace. So if you can feel it, you'll be able to tell the difference. So those are your messages for this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I always appreciate you. I hope all of these messages came through with all this technology stuff we've got going on. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you soon with another video. If you like this video, if it resonates with you, like this video, share this video, comment below, whatever you feel called to do. It helps to connect your energy to my readings in the future, and it also just helps support all the things that I'm doing here. All right, thank you guys so much. I'll see you soon.